is adding an atmospheric sound. And what does that mean? Put the kettle on. It'll be a bit of a long one today, and my allergies are driving me nuts. So if that's really what causes my asthma, it's allergies. It flares it up, and so if I get a bit wheezy than usual, forgive me. That's why. So we are living in the times that I never thought I would see in my lifetime. I think, this is an age of division between good and evil. And I think it's becoming apparent who is evil at the moment. Now, not being a dogmatically orientated person, I understand that evil can flip from one side to the other. So if all the evil was on the right wing 20 years ago, it could easily be on the left wing today. This is the beauty of not choosing, of walking the middle path. And you're given signs by the universe, natural law, if you're on the right path or not. Now, I wrote an article a few days ago basically saying that people who are woke are demonically possessed, which they are. And within no time it had 40,000 reads, the one article on my Substack. And if you go to my Substack and you look at all the most read articles, the ones that have like 40,000, 50,000, 30,000 reads, which I find incredible that many people are reading my stuff. I probably have a bigger readership of my Substack than say the top journalists in Ireland at this point, mainstream journalists. And that shows you natural law in effect. And so that showed that many people do realize that the woke are demons. That people who are woke are demons, or they're demonically possessed. That they're Cenobites. Now, the title of this video comes from the Bhagavad Gita, which those of you who followed me for a long time know that I quote from that famous Hindu text quite a lot. And the white horse is the reference to the white horses that pulled the chariot of Arjuna into the center of the two armies, who have to ask Krishna and to help him deal with his despondency. And Arjuna was placed between the two armies, and he saw that he had friends and family members on both sides, and he couldn't understand, why am I fighting my relatives? Why are my relatives going to die today? Why am I doing this? And then there's one of the greatest, philosophical discussions in the history of theology and philosophy takes place when Krishna, representing the higher consciousness of himself, starts talking to Arjuna and on the meaning of existence and the nature of reality. Now, someone just called me then. I don't even know who they are. But anyway, so this concept of the white horses has been showing up a lot lately in things like the white horses in London and stuff like that, and other things like this. So the synchronicities fly on these things. But let's define what good and evil is. In very basic terms, evil is not what you believe in terms of your religion or your dogma or your faith as the opposer of that. So, for instance, if you're a Christian, if someone doesn't believe in Jesus, that doesn't make them evil. It just means that you are a dogmatist. You are just following a rules. You're not actually following a spiritual path. And if the person that you're calling evil has made that choice out of examination of themselves and their lives, that actually means you're evil because you're judging a person who's actually stepped into the world of contemplation and then decided, like, weighed things up. Is it good? Is it right? Is it working? It's not. Natural law is an element of correction, equilibrium. And when something is in violation of natural law, it cannot be sustained. It always goes back to the center. Usually there's a swing to the other side and then it finds balance in the center. That's what your ideal is, right? So when you have something pushing away from the center, either left or right, it's evil. So with the right, the neocons and 9/11 and the wars in the Gulf War, oil wars, see my video yesterday, that was evil on the right, okay? And now woke is the evil on the left. So, this is why you can't say I'm a left wing, I'm right wing, I'm Christian, I'm Catholic, I'm Protestant, I'm this, I'm that. Because if they go into evil, you will go along with that. If they fall into shadow, you will fall into shadow too. So, a lot of people, I was watching a video the other day by someone calling me a godless and evil and stuff like that because I didn't believe in Christianity. And the irony is that person is godless and evil. That's the thing. It's your usual coward that hides behind a fake name. They always do. That's another thing too. If you guys are on this journey with me and you really want to find natural law, you should not be supporting anyone on the internet who doesn't, or anyone who calls himself part of the truth scene who doesn't use their real name and show their real identity. I'm always amazed by that. That, like, you will have these people that their names and identities are hidden, and yet they're truth gurus, and you haven't got a fucking clue who they are. They could be anybody, unless they're using their real name and they're out there with their real identity, and you can verify their backgrounds, the background story that they're not, lifelong criminals or convicted sex offenders or stuff like that. Why are you even trusting them? Why are you even going along with them? Real names and real identities, or else they're cowards or criminals hiding. It's as simple as that. People like me and others like me who use our real names and identity, we take tremendous risks in our lives. We're basically guaranteed we'll never have a regular job ever again. And then you're going like, Tommy Sheridan needs a shield. You work for Goldman Sachs, needs a shield. And then someone who calls themselves Oblivion Angel, or something like that. Oh, he's my truth guru, Oblivion Angel. I sent him all this money because he fights against satanic. You're fucking idiots. You're the biggest fucking suckers on the face of the earth. Unless they're using their real name and real identity, they are not in the fight for truth. They are cowards or they're criminals hiding a dark secret. How is that so? That's your first lesson in natural law, okay? There's your first lesson right there. If they're not using their real names and identity and they're professing to be the voice of truth, they're liars. They're liars or they're cowards, okay? If you want to continue supporting these people, then there's something wrong with you. You shouldn't be in the world of, like, truth seeking. You're in a kind of a cosplay RPG game. So that's the first one, okay? So that's a first law of natural correction. Natural law is to make sure you know where your sources, who they are, where they come from, and their backstory. And you're already winning. Then you're already winning. You're already winning. And because the ones who hide their real identity are the ones with something to hide. You always remember that. And you can verify me right back to the fucking pram. And so you have this situation where people, the blind are being blinded by the blind, by the unseen. So that's not natural. Like, oh, I saw a video on reptilian resistance 2012 and all this kind of. Okay, who are these people? How do you know it's not an MI5 agent leading you astray? The flat earth thing is full of that shit. You just can't think for yourself. You can't think for yourself. You want the RPG game, you want the adrenaline, you want the incitement. That's why so many of these types can't get over the fact, they can't get past the fact that Trump put out Operation Warp Speed to get the vax out. But he also said it must only be voluntary. That's all you need. If someone is stupid enough to fucking inject themselves, that's their problem. Not otherwise. If it's voluntary, that's all. During the Rona Chronicles, that's all I was fighting to maintain. I didn't give a shit if there was like every kind of medication released under the sun. Once I was left alone. What other people do is their own business. And yet they could not get that into they still can't get that into their heads because there's a part of them wanted the adrenaline rush of being someone kicking down the door and injecting them. They really do exist, those types. They want the doom, they want the fear. So that's evil as well because it's against natural law. So anything that's against natural law is inherently evil. And this is why, so you have you have to have this kind of Luciferian outlook. And the word lucid comes from Luciferian, clarity, where you have to sit back and not take sides on anything, and then decide who's good and who's evil, without joining the side. So for instance, when I say, right now the left, liberals and the woke are pure evil. They're pure evil. And woke people are demonically possessed. They're actually hosts for demons. Well, that doesn't mean I'm going to become a conservative or join the neocons. Because in 10 years' time, that could flip around and like be pointing to neocons and going, look, or conservatives going, look, they're demons. This is what a Luciferian mind is. You look with clarity. You see, you don't have a team that you join and then defend that position until you find yourself among the forces of darkness, which is what so many lefties are now. So many lefties who probably grew up believing in social justice and taking care of the less fortunate, which that's me, they have now because their inability to walk away from their left-wing ideologies now find themselves among the most evil people in the world. Evil people who would laugh and mock at a man who died protecting his family after the bullet missed Donald Trump last weekend. And you think about that. Couldn't believe the videos I was seeing online. They were asking these always upper middle class white Americans, how do you feel about it? Oh, I don't care. I wish they got him. It's a shame they missed. Imagine that mind like that. And then one guy even said, well, a man behind him died. And he goes, hey, small price to pay. As he's holding his ice cream going into like some sick, a small price to pay. A man who took a bull and 2 other people were shot. A small price to pay. This is the same mentality of these jihadists or these jihad supporters who put laughing emojis and hearts when a terrorist attack happens. These people are evil and they think that they're on the side of good. The bald guy from that comedy act, Tenacious D, a band, well, not even a band, but an act that could only be famous in a time of absolute stupidity and idiocy. There's, a goofball, infantile, thing for adult children. That's all that is. And excuse me. And so the bald guy with the acoustic guitar says that he wanted Trump to not miss Trump next time for his birthday. And that's the end of that group. And now they're all saying, on the left, they're all going, oh, it's not right. Cancel culture is wrong. The people who've been cancel culturing everyone else have decided it's now wrong because it's happening to them. What? And also, the idiots who didn't believe, the ones who said there was no such thing as a conspiracy ever, last Saturday morning, are now the biggest conspiracy theorists in the world. What? This is why the human race is mostly composed of idiots. They can't think. They will follow their team to the end, no matter where it takes them. Now, I don't like cancel culture, but I don't care about this guy Kyle Gatt. What he did was disgusting. Cancel culture, the woke is Bolshevism. That's what woke is. A woke is just a modern way of saying Bolsheviks, right? And in the old days, if you fell afoul of the Bolsheviks, you disappeared into the Gulag system in Siberia. Today, if you fall afoul of the woke Bolsheviks, you disappear into cancel culture. But it's exactly the same thing. You become a non-entity. Your career is over. And when they get a taste of that, their arms are up in the air saying, it's not fair, it's not fair. But they were doing it for far less, way less. You know, someone telling a joke, 20 years ago might have used the N-word in it. Someone digs it up and that's his career over. Even though he may have said the N-word like I've done in the past, to actually point the finger at racists, as an ironic kind of this is how these people think, and that didn't matter. Once the utterance of the N-word was enough to bring this person down. The context was irrelevant, even if he was using it to go after racists, it was still irrelevant. And that's disgusting, But that's what these people have done, and it's now coming back to bite them on the ass. And, I really thought that a lot of people who were sort of didn't like Trump or didn't care about him. Now, this what I'm saying right now, it's not about loving or hating Trump. Well, firstly, we have to acknowledge that man has an enormous power force behind him. That he's not normal. He's not a normal person. He is, he's up there with Julius Caesar and Napoleon. He's one of them. And you don't have to love him, you don't have to hate him, but you have to acknowledge that he's there, that he is what he is. And you do not fall afoul of the gods by mocking them, these kinds of people, because the gods have selected these people for a specific purpose, to put them into that position of power. So to besmirch them is to besmirch the gods. This is why all the ones with Trump derangement syndrome all end up psychotic or dying from the needlecraft. And it really is TDS, because I got a meme showed up on an occult group the other day, comparing Trump to the Antichrist with quotes from the Bible, saying showing that he will do this. These people are nuts. These people are insane. And then, now someone pulled up recently, John Waters in a Substack yesterday, pulled up a cover of The Village magazine from 2017. The Village is magazine is a left-wing cultural and political magazine in Ireland. It would make you vomit. It's pure, it's read by civil servants and bureaucrats, these kinds of types, and trade union leaders. The types who, want a workers' revolution as long as they still have their government salary, pension and gravy entitlements, and it doesn't affect their job in any way. And someone else does the working. Preferably someone in the private sector. As long as they suffer if they want the workers' revolution, as long as the suffering is only in the private sector, once it doesn't affect the the civil servants and the public sector trade unions, they're okay. It's us to have to suffer for their workers, for them, so they can wave their red flags and their rainbow flags. And on the cover of the issue of The Village from 2000, if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see there's a picture of Donald Trump and a sight on him, a sniper sight pointing to his head here, and it says "Worte?" ? Now, this is how sick these people are, that they claim to be for democracy and this kind of thing. Trump won the vote fair and square, but yet they want political assassinations if you don't vote for who they want you to vote for. And we saw that all through so-called European democracy as it exists today. Vote for us or go back and vote again and get the right answer this time. And this is happening because of numbers of things. Evil doesn't triumph because of greatness. The evil doesn't triumph because of dastardly masterminds. Evil triumphs because of paralyzing mediocrity within the leadership structure. I mean, you look at this country here. There's nothing but mediocrity at the top. In fact, they're even proud of their mediocrity. And and this mediocrity could only exist in a time of evil. In a time of, and when I say evil, I mean outside the domain of natural law. In a time of natural law, mediocrity is swept aside in favor of excellence. Excellence and exceptionalism rises to the top in a time of evil mediocrity. If you look at the Bolsheviks, the ones and you look at the worst, like Nazis and stuff like that, and the Third Reich, they were and the same with the woke and the politically correct today and the lefties. They were all incredibly mediocre people. They were mediocre. They were often unattractive and ugly. You look at the female Nazi prison guards. You look at the Bolshevik females. Like the neck as thick as their head, and they're sending beautiful girls to die in the Bolshevik having them shot in NKVD killing rooms. And same today. They'll destroy anything of beauty because the demons. Look at it this way. The secret unknowns, as I call them, by courtesy of Francis Ford Coppola, they're either not human or they're humans taking their orders from a non-human force. I can say that without hesitation. They're not human, and because every single policy today is designed to destroy everything that's beautiful about humans, from gender to mothers to birthing to love. And that was also what happened to the Bolsheviks. And the woke are the same kind of people. They want to destroy European culture, but if I said, like for instance, you have like lefties in Ireland say, well, Irish culture, blah, and I says, okay, let's get a bunch of Irish people, go over to Sentinel Island and and remove the Sentinel Islanders' culture, and they'd go, that's terrible. Indigenous cultures must be protected. Well, what about ours? Oh, that's different. This is what they're like. Because they can't think, they cannot think. You just have to look at the recent thing regarding what happened in the Middle East. They're all mad for Hamas. Why? What would Hamas do for you if you were in trouble? What would Palestinians do for you if you were in trouble? Nothing. Why should they? Just look after yourself. Everyone else does. They were paying a big price for that 1 shilling when we were kids, or 10p, that were 5p, that we put inside the little box on the school teacher's desk with the little black baby on the front. We were paying an enormous price for that. And this is all, so Christians in this country, where do they go? Well, the Church of Ireland, the Protestants, are the most woke ones of all. Basically, it's one step away from 2 lesbian clerics having sex on the altar. That's literally the Protestant churches in Ireland, and the Church of Ireland in particular. The Catholic Church, they showed their true colours during the lockdowns, when they wouldn't even visit people who were dying or anything. Just like they did in the famine, they hid themselves behind closed doors, having their dinner served to them by their housekeepers, while their parishioners starved outside. They did it again in the Rona. And any person who still goes to a Catholic service, I have no respect for them. In Ireland, anyway, no respect. Unless it's something like a Latin mass that worked during the lockdowns, but I have no respect for you. You actually patroning this freak in a frock to say a Roman imperial agent. You're actually patroning him when he wouldn't even come and see your dying grandfather, give him the last rites. Morons, absolute morons. And they showed the true colours again, by the way, first time during the famine, when they had their meals served to them on plates by servants, while literally outside the window their parishioners were dying of starvation. They've done it again. And they loved that, because they were working for the Globalists even back then, the secret unknowns, because they thought this is a great way to build up Catholic parishes in England and in America. So the immigrants, how they function. See, this is why it's just despicable. They're just despicable. So like, there's, the same thing. So if you're a Christian and you're a Catholic and you find that's bullshit, does that stop you from being a Christian? No. Continue to believe in whatever you believe, but don't be signing up for the club and point out the evil when you see it. To get yourself hooked up into dogma is sick. Absolutely sick. Because it just all it does is you become like a sailboat with no rudder, and you go wherever the wind blows. You can be a sailboat, but you have to have you must make sure you always have your hand on the rudder. you're being blown to a storm that you can guide away from it. This kind of thing. When you're in a state of dogma, you're against natural law and you're just pulled by the wind wherever it goes. And I see it so much. But many people are happy with that. They don't want to think. They don't want to find the middle ground. They don't want that Luciferian lucidity. That's another thing, I saw another thing there. Someone calling me a Luciferian. Yeah, I am. I'm in the true meaning of the word. I'm a Luciferian. I see clarity. You don't need go and read some books because you don't know what Lucifer is. Like you don't know what 666 is. You got other ideas from movies and TV shows, and you think that's another thing. They all go on about 666. You think by going on about it makes them spiritual. But where did they get it from? The movie The Omen. They didn't get it from any kind of theological insight. 666 just means the money and the power of the Roman Emperor Nero. That's all that means. Nothing else. In the Kabbalah, that's all it means. His power is money and his power is banking. That's what the beast is sick. The beast it was the Roman Emperor Nero, and his number is 666, meaning that he has all this power through his wealth and his banking system. That's what that meant. Nothing else. Just like it is today. And like I said, when I woke up the next day after seeing the footage of the Trump assassination, and I was overcome by a sense of evil. I said, that proves it. That proves, and the homunculus, Crooks that tried to shoot him, he is like something that was created in a lab or something like that. Like just a mess. Just like so many of the woke are just a mess these days. They're not capable of speech or anything, or normal social interactions. Like there was one guy who was interviewed who knew him in school, and the kid was Hispanic, and he said, "What do you think of Trump?" And he said, "I like Trump, but you're Hispanic. He's racist against you." He said, "That I think." And when you have like magazines like The Village here in Ireland, if Donald Trump gets elected, I'm definitely going to send that cover of The Village, along with the names of the author and the editor, to the U.S. State Department. Those people should really be included in conspiracy for behind this, because if you're telling, if that was like a direct thing, that was part of it. I think the people who were involved in that article from The Village, whoever they are, should be forbidden from having visas. In fact, I would go much further. I'd put them on a terrorist watch list and a no-fly list. They should do this because that's an incitement to assassinate a president of the United States, and it almost happened while he was running for campaign again. I hopefully when Trump gets in, if he gets in. So I had this like weird dream last night that Kamala Harris ended up becoming president, because both Trump was thrown out of the election, and Biden died, and she ended up president. I had a dream about that, and so Kamala Harris became president, and then people were saying, "How could that be?" And she's up there cackling. Well, it's to mock you. It's a lot. That's why she cackles. The demon inside is laughing and mocking you. And people say, "Well, it doesn't matter if she's a simpleton. They look at Biden; he can barely function, and he's still running the United States somehow." Yeah, but I don't know how that. But if Trump did get into power, it should be like what it was in the Reagan days, where anyone who was involved in any kind of plot against the United States, wherever they lived in the world, and that included assassination of the president, should be put on the terrorist lists. There's no reason now why the people behind the Village magazine should not be on a terrorist list. Not at all. That's what I can tell. If the U.S. State Department, saw those things. People can't be allowed to put someone's picture on the cover of a magazine with a target on their face and say "Wurte." That's incitement to murder, incitement to, if it doesn't matter what the context of the article is on the inside, the cover alone is just openly stating that. So, I think, hopefully when Trump gets in, there will be massive investigations into people around the world who called for his thing. And, maybe list them on terrorist base or something like that. They shouldn't be allowed to get away with that. And remember, that magazine is also the Village magazine is also the darling of the Irish mainstream, the politicians and everything. So maybe we need to, you see, I think Ireland has to become a pariah state. It should, we already are, but it should become officially one. And this is be one step towards it. The restoration of Irish democracy will be based on taking down the woke and the liberal elite in this country. Not because they're liberal, but because they're globalists and they hate this country with a passion. They hate this, and they hate anyone who loves their country. That's why they hate Trump. They hate anyone who loves their country and their culture. Why? Because the demon doesn't want. The demon is jealous. The demons don't want you. The secret known demons don't want you worshipping anybody but them. And this includes your family and your community and your country. It gets in their way. And so we're living. This is where we are now. We're in the middle of the road. Our chariot has been drawn up. I mean, if you have any sense, if you're either left or right, you're lost. But extreme either side. But if you're one of us, or people who are moving to the center, our chariot is now between the two battle lines, and we're looking at both, and we're having our discourse with our conscious higher selves about where we stand on this, and realizing ultimately we don't play with that, and we don't play with that outside the material and outside a material way, but on the spiritual path we're somewhere else, and the time is to choose. So if anyone's left or woke or anything like that, and you're watching this video right now, how about saying, I don't like that asshole, Sheridan, and then saying, I need time a moratorium. I need to sit down and think about where we're going. It's a man was shot behind Trump or this kind of thing, or okay, it was horrible what happened in Gaza, but what about all those kids and Israeli kids who were killed on the beach for nothing? It's time to sit back and say, maybe I shouldn't be joining sides so quickly. And maybe I should start building a reality of my own, because ultimately that's what it is. Language is the maker of reality, as Deepak Chopra used to say when he was one time great. Logos, ligni, lucidity, luke, lakut, languai, Lucifer. Take care.